Today I will show you one of the most famous areas of all of Bali, Ubud, known for lush green rice fields, chill jungle vibes and amazing waterfalls. And also awesome restaurants, spiritual communities, cultural experiences and much more to do. But is it still good to visit or is it too touristy now? What should you do and see when you're here, and also what are the hidden gems that you should know about? I will tell you all of this in this video, so stay till the end to know exactly if you should come here and what you should do. First of all, let's step in why you should come to Ubud. And Ubud is very famous for jungle, rice fields, waterfall, and if you imagine Bali as a jungle island, Ubud is probably the place that would fit perfectly in that picture, because you have a lot of greenery and you're also very central from Bali, so you can explore all the island basically from there, even though I wouldn't recommend to explore everything from just one hotel or Airbnb that you booked, because everything is quite far with the traffic in Bali, but still it's a great place to have a location and explore the surroundings. And also you will have lots of jungle, rice fields, and also you have a lot of things that you maybe know from Canggu, like restaurants for tourists, hotels, villas, massages, just everything that you probably imagine for a touristy area. And if you're traveling Bali, I would say it's definitely a great stop after Canggu or Uluwatu or other places that you've been in Bali, to stop or stay in Ubud, because you can see a completely different side of Bali than, for example, in Canggu or in Uluwatu. That's why I will tell you now where you should go, where you should not go, where you should eat, what you should know before coming to Ubud, and what's my general opinion of Ubud for traveling. So we start with the must visits in Ubud, and you should definitely take notes, because you can't remember all of these, because there's actually a lot of things to do and see in and around Ubud. So the first thing is the monkey forest, which is actual a big park and jungle area where a lot of monkeys live, and it's also a temple. And there are actually two monkey forests. One is the very famous one directly in Ubud, the sacred monkey forest, and the second one is the Sange monkey forest, which is a bit more outside. You have to drive there, but some people say that because it's less touristy, the monkeys are not so aggressive and don't try to steal as much things from you as they maybe try in Ubud itself. But definitely the sacred monkey forest is much bigger and more beautiful from the park outlay, I would say. And also one tip that I definitely can recommend to you is that everything that you want to visit, come there early, because all of the big touristy buses arrive between 9 and 10 a.m. on all of these stops. So if you want an experience with less tourists, always try to be there before 9 or 10 a.m. and just try to be very early, and then you will have everything on your own and don't see that much people there. Number 2 is the Alas Harum, and this is very, very famous in Ubud. It's about 20 minutes from the main town away, and there you have those beautiful rice terraces, you have lots of beautiful statues, you also have those famous swings that you probably know from Instagram, where the girls can swing with the red dress that flies in the wind. The entrance is quite cheap. I think it was a few dollars, and then you can walk around everywhere, make pictures and everything. It was really beautiful, and I can really recommend going there. But be there very early if you want to walk around, because the sun can get quite hot, especially if you're like at 10 a.m. there. It's already almost too hot. So just go there very early, but it's really, really beautiful. And after that, you can go to the Kretia day club or restaurant, depends on if you want to go into the pool or not. But you have to make a reservation for the day club and also for the pool beds, because in our case, it was already 3 days in advance booked out, so we couldn't go there. But two alternatives are the Kretia Sunset Day Club, which is a little bit far away. You can drive there, and there you also have a beautiful sunset view. And you also have one day club that we found out, the Cabana Day Club, which was really quiet but very luxurious. You don't have ricefield view from there, but you have a nice jungle club view, and you also have a nice pool, good service, and so on. And be aware that if you go to most of the day clubs and you want to lay down on a pool bed, you probably have minimum spend about 400k per person, which is I think around $20 per person. But at the Cabana Day Club, while we were there were no minimum spend, so maybe that's one hidden gem you should check out. Also, you have lots of options to do nice walks in the rice fields or in the jungle. The first one is the Kampuhan Ridge Walk, which is kind of a street for walks or jogging on a hill, and you have the view over the jungle. And you can also, when you drive more to the north to the Tagalong rice terraces, you can basically stop everywhere and just walk into the rice fields. You can do that near to Kretia Sunset Day Club, but also near to Huma Cafe, where we found it was like really nice to just walk around and explore the area. And you can basically stop everywhere and just go in every path into the rice fields and have a nice walk and enjoy the nature. The next stop is the temple Pura Tirtha Empul, and it is very famous for water ceremonies, where you can go into the water and then you can pour yourself the holy water out of the springs on your head. And on Instagram you see some disclaimers that you probably have to wait 2 or 3 hours to do that in a line, because there are so many people there. So when we arrived, we were really shocked that there were just 2 people in the pond and there was no line at all. And also they have a very beautiful holy spring where the water is just coming out of the ground. It looked very beautiful, and I can highly recommend you that temple. But you definitely have to arrive before 9 or 10 a.m. because when we left the temple, we understood why there were so less people, because there were 10 huge tourist buses were arriving at, I think it was 9 a.m. So definitely be there before to have the quiet experience, because after that you probably need to wait 2 or 3 hours to see that, and that's not really worth it. So just be there early and then you can enjoy it. And one really good tip that we got from a local parking guide that we met down there, that in the ticket that you buy there for the temple, you have already included a free coffee tasting very close nearby. It was like 2 to 3 minutes driving with the scooter, and it's called Devata Agrovisata. I hope I pronounced it right. But you can basically just go there, you don't have to pay anything, and they give you a free tour of all of the plants that grow in their plantation. They also have the very famous Luwak cat animal that you can basically also pet. They're just free, but you can pet them because they raise it by hand when they were a little baby. And then you can have like a free coffee tasting of 12 different teas and coffees. And you can also buy to try the famous Luwak coffee. And also after that in their shop you can shop almost everything that they grow. So it was really nice and definitely experience it. And you can connect it really good with the temple. One thing that you can also add after the coffee tasting is the Ulu waterfall. It's very close, and we also visited it afterwards, and it's really beautiful. You can also go into the waterfall and take a bath, and it was really quiet there as well and beautiful, so I can definitely recommend you to check that out, but I will come to more waterfalls in a bit. If you like the value that you're getting out of this video so far, please help me out, like and subscribe to help this channel grow. You also have the Royal Water Palace Tirtha Ganga, and maybe you've already seen it from Instagram, that beautiful pond with little stones on it, and then you can step there and lots of fish are swimming to you. That's the place, but it's 1.5 hours away from Ubud, but you can combine it with a day trip with probably some other spots nearby. Also, one of the best temple experiences I had in whole Bali was the Besaki temple, and that's the biggest temple of all of Bali. It's also around 1 hour away from Ubud, but really worth the visit because it's on a mountain and overlooking all of Bali, and it's really beautiful. And tip, you need to pay, I think, 300,000 entrance per person, and also you need to rent out a sarong and like the proper upper body part for women, that you can go inside of the temple, which was the more beautiful experience actually, because not many tourists do that. And then you can go inside of the temple. We were also allowed to pray with the people there, and it was explained how you pray, and they explain you everything about the temple. So that was beautiful, and I would also say the best temple experience I had so far in Bali. If you don't go inside the temple, it's very touristy and you see all of the tourist shops, and that's where most of the people end their tour at the temple. But when you go inside, it's really beautiful and you get a quite local experience. Next we will come to the waterfalls, and I will just list all of them, and then you can look at them yourself and just decide to which you want to go and which you won't. Most of them are located 30 minutes to 1 hour outside of Ubud, so you definitely need a car or a bike to get there. And I will read it out loud because the names here in Bali are sometimes quite difficult. We have the Taman Beji Gria waterfall, the Kanto Lampu waterfall, which is very famous from all of the Instagram photos, but you will also have a line there to wait to make that photo, so come early. You have the Nung Nung waterfall, Leke Leke waterfall, Sekumpul waterfall, which is the most famous one in all of Bali. And right now you have to pay a local guide around 300k, I think, per person, or in general for the guide, just to go there, because they said there is no rule that you have to pay that much money just to go down. And also you have the Ulu waterfall that I already mentioned. So the biggest one is definitely Sekumpul, but all of them are beautiful. Just look at them on pictures and decide on which one you want to go. You can also go on ATV tours, which is like a little quad where you drive through the jungle and waters and everything. And you can also do rafting. Just Google it and you will find many providers that offer it, and just pay like $20-30 per person, and you can go there and do a nice tour. You can also do a local cooking class where you go onto the Ubud market in the morning and shop everything, and then you cook with all of the other students, and then you have a great menu to try by yourself. And I can link down some of the cooking classes that I know from friends that they tried, but you can also just Google and just check out anything that you find. But it's really nice to get a little insight on the cultural cuisine, and after that, because we also did a cooking class, you will definitely worth more the food when you know how much effort is put into that. You can also do a lot of spiritual and healing ceremonies. You can do lots of meditation, yoga for sure. You can also do sound healing, chakra healing, acupuncture, and everything that you can basically think about. You can also do water ceremonies. One famous one is tree desna healing from Instagram. But other famous places are, for example, the pyramids of Chi that we visited for sound healing, also Serendipity and Singing Bowl. If you miss the white sand beaches during your time in Ubud, you can actually visit the Bias Tugel Beach or the Virgin Beach, which are pure white sand beaches and not as many tourists as in Uluwatu, and it's just 1 hour away from Ubud. Other things that you can explore around the Ubud area is first of all the Ulu Danu Beratan temple, which is a temple located next to a lake on the mountains, and it is really beautiful. We've been there, it's around 1 hour away from Ubud, and it's really worth a visit. The garden and flowers are super beautiful, also the temple area, and you can do a lot of things there also in the surrounding area, and they also have like a super nice flower garden 5 minutes away, so definitely go there. It's super beautiful and a complete other experience to the rest of Bali. Also, you have Kintamani, which is also 1 hour away from Ubud, but in the other direction, which is also a lake next to a mountain, and you have lots of famous cafes on a hill road, and the cafes are overlooking the lake and two mountains in the backside, and it's really beautiful and also very famous to go there for sunrise, to see the sun rising, and everything looks super beautiful, but you have to have luck that there are no clouds at all to not destroy your view. Also, you can do the Mount Batur sunrise hike, which is very famous, so a lot of people will be there. You also have to book a guide to get up there, and it starts very, very early. You have to get up, I think, maybe at 2 or 3 a.m. and then drive there 1 hour and hike up the mountain when everything is dark. And then when you are at the top, you're luckily at the same time when the sunrise is, and you see the sun rising when you have no clouds, hopefully. You see the sun rising and everything looks so beautiful, and it's really worth it. And the Tegalang rice terraces very close to Ubud are very beautiful, but I definitely have to tell you that they cannot reach the level of Cinnamon or Jatiluwi, which are so famous for their beautiful rice fields. And both of them are 1 hour away from Ubud, but again in completely different directions. And if I had to choose one, I would honestly go to Jatiluwi because we like the view way more and looked so nice there, and you can walk to the beautiful rice fields. And in Cinnamon you have the advantage that you can see the Mount Batur in the background of the rice fields, but in Jatiluwi you just have way more rice fields and it looks very stunning, and you can also see all of the mountains. So definitely make a 1 day trip there or just take a night there. It's really, really beautiful and worth the drive. And also I want to mention 2 more things that you can do around in Bali that has not really something to do with Ubud, but are still reachable from Ubud, I would say, as a day trip. First of all, you can go to Lovina, which is so famous for the dolphin watching and swimming with dolphin. And I could almost recommend you to get a hotel there because you have to go there at 6 a.m. out into the ocean, and there will be a lot of boats that try to see the dolphins. And when we were there, we had the best view. It was so many boats, even we were there in the rainy season, but there were like 50 dolphins jumping out of the water, and it was the most beautiful thing I ever saw. I thought it would be maybe like 5 or 4 dolphins like I saw it once in Mallorca, but honestly that was really stunning, really crazy, and I can 100% recommend doing that. And the second thing is diving or snorkeling in, first of all, Ahmed or Menjongan Islands. Both of them are beautiful for snorkeling, but also more far away, so you probably need 2 to 3 hours to get there, so I recommend you to just sleep there 1 night, but it's really beautiful, and if you want to go snorkeling, that's a really good place in Bali. And now I still have 3 things for you to not see, because I cannot recommend you going there and wasting your time, because it's maybe very famous, but I didn't really understand why people go there. And first of all is the Lempunyang temple, and it's called the Gate of Heaven, and you probably saw it a lot on Instagram. A beautiful gate, and behind that gate you see the volcano Mount Batur, and you see a big line of people that are waiting 2 to 3 hours just for one photo. And actually the photo is a local guide holding a mirror beneath your phone that it looks like you're standing on a lake, and actually that's kind of weird to stand for a photo like that 3 hours when you also have to keep in mind that you need to drive there for maybe 2 hours, and there's probably nothing that magic about the temple. We didn't decide to go there, and I can also not recommend you to waste your time like that. Two other things that I cannot recommend are, first of all, the Ubud Palace, because we thought it was an actual palace where you could go in and see a lot of things, but it was actually just like a little garden and some statues, and it was just not really crazy. So it's free, there's no entry, but also it wasn't really big. And also the Saraswati temple, you had to pay, I think, like a lot of entry. It was like 100k or 200k per person, and actually there was just a big pond behind that, and there was also nothing crazy to see there, so you don't have to waste your money on that. There was nothing spectacular, and I would definitely recommend you all of the other temples of Bali than that. But you can also go onto the nightly dance shows in the Ubud Palace and Saraswati temple. That's probably more spectacular, but I think still the best dance to see in Bali is the Kecak dance in Uluwatu, where you see the sunset right behind the ocean. For the restaurants, I have to tell you that there are so many, and it's a little bit like Canggu, where you have so many nice restaurants to choose from, a lot of vegan restaurants as well, because the spiritual scene is there very, very big. And I would say there are, normal touristy restaurants, like for example, this is Bali, Suka Espresso, you have Plant Bistro, and a lot of very great ones, and I will list all of them here or probably in the description, so you can just take a screenshot and have everything that you can mark them up. But there are also some special restaurants, in my opinion, where you, for example, have a really nice rice field view, or there are two very famous restaurants with statues where you can make pictures, and it just looks really, really nice. So I will blend them in here because I can also not recommend all of those names, and I will link them in the description. But there are so many nice restaurants that you can try, and you probably can't even try all of them while you visit here in Ubud. And last but not least, some things that you should definitely know about Ubud before coming here. First of all, as in general in Bali, I would always recommend you to get your own villa instead of a hotel, because I always think the vibe is so different here when you have your own villa, your own house, your private space. Villas start around $100 a night if you want really nice one, clean one, good ones. You can actually get hotels for $30 to $40 a night, and guest house is probably way cheaper, from maybe $10 a night. But if you have the money, I always recommend you to just invest that extra money and get a villa. If you're visiting Ubud in the rainy season, you definitely need to know that it will rain more often than in Canggu, Seminyak, or for example in Uluwatu, because it's more than off. In general, central Bali and everything close to the mountain will rain more often in rainy season. Sometimes it rains every day, sometimes maybe just 1 or 2 days in the week, but it will rain from probably 12 to 2 or from 12 to 5. It always depends on the day. You probably have the morning always free of clouds, but then in the midday just be careful and have a raincoat. And also the Ubud city center is, in my opinion, not really beautiful, but I think it's too crowded, everything is way too small, and it was really exhausting to be in the city center. I mean, in the outside when you're in the rice fields and jungle is very beautiful, but in the city center where all of the restaurants are, it's super crowded and super full, and everything is just so tight, and I didn't really enjoy it, to be honest, to be there. So if you want to rent something, definitely go a bit out, maybe 10 minutes outside of the city center, and then you will be good. But it's very stressful in the city, in my opinion, and I wasn't even there in high season. In my opinion, way more fuller than in Canggu or Seminyak or somewhere else. So would I recommend going to Ubud for traveling or even staying long term? All in all, I would definitely come to Ubud and plan this as a stop in my travel journey because it's very unique. You have all of the jungle and rice field vibe, but you still have all of the tourist luxuries like nice shopping areas, you have restaurants and everything else that you maybe miss from Canggu, and you're very good located to travel everything around, all of the waterfalls and so on. So it's a very good location. You can do a lot of things and it's a very nice way to experience Bali. So thank you very much for liking and subscribing, and I will see you in one of my next videos where I show you the most beautiful places on earth.